Hi there, we're going to take a look at a few advanced features of animating objects within InDesign. One of those is rotation. I'm just going to take this text frame here. I'm going to come over into my rotation panel, and I'm going to see I have an ability to click on rotate here and actually put in some numbers, like here's 180 degrees. Let's preview that, kind of warm things up here a little bit, and play. Okay, so we can kind of see it's rotating 180 degrees. That's fine. Now, it appears that you can't put any other numbers here. This is the only choice. Well, that's not really true. What you can do is you can actually come in here and rotate something up to 7,200 degrees of rotation. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to put in the maximum of 7,200 degrees. I'm going to hit Tab and we're going to preview this. There you go. So know that you can put in any measurement up here. Now if I put it in a negative, I can do the same thing, but it's going to go counterclockwise, I think, here. See? Okay, so know that you can put numbers in here. I'm going to put this back to, let's say, 0, and I'm going to change it to 360, and that's going to be one rotation. Now, also, notice up on top here, you can control how long it takes to do that rotation of degrees. Right now it's set at 1 second. If I run this up to 2 and I click play, of course you know it's going to take 2 seconds to do that. So you can control that. One other little sneaky thing in here, I know in InDesign, if I click in a field where I have a value here, I can hit the asterisk key for multiplication, and I want this to rotate 3 times this amount. So 360 times 3. Let's see if I hit enter. Will it calculate it? Look at that. So it automatically figured out that. So you can do math in these different fields within InDesign, not just animation, but any place in the document. So let's preview this. So that's one thing I wanted you to know about. Also, this proxy panel over here controls where the center point of rotation is. Let me click on the upper left, and we'll just take a look at it here. Okay, so notice you can pick on the proxy here, or the reference origin point here, anywhere you want that thumbtack or that pivot point to be. Okay, let's go on to something else. I'm going to go next page. In my document here, I'm going to come over to my lower left corner, and I'm going to go over to page 2. Now I have a little animation trick here. In animation, most things will move, but they don't necessarily move at a constant rate. And sometimes when you run and then you stop, you kind of move back and forth a little bit to get settled. Okay, at this point I have this red object here and I want to animate this. So I want to move it across the screen, but I want to control how far and the direction and all that. So I'm going to take my line tool and I'm going to press and I'm going to hold my shift key down. And I'm going to draw out a path, we'll say about that long. With the path still selected, you know you can switch to your selection arrow or hit the V key. I'm going to select both of these and I'm going to right click and I'm going to say interactive, convert to motion path. Now I can see the motion path here. In fact, I see a ghost of it here. That's because this little thing over here, this little icon in my animation panel called Show Animation Proxy is on. So this is showing me where it's going to animate to. Let's preview this. Okay, it moves from here to here. That's fine. Notice it does it at a constant speed. Things in real life don't really necessarily always operate at a constant speed. It takes a little bit of acceleration, and also if you want to slow down at a stop sign or something like that, when you are driving, you de-accelerate. So I can take this animation I have, and over here there's a little item here called speed. It's on none by default. I want to do an ease in and an ease out. And these are terms in animation that make things look a little more natural. It's going to take a little speed to get up to speed, and then when it slows down, it's going to slow down just before it stops. So it's not going to run at a constant pace. Let's watch this. In and in. In and slow down. Start up, slow down. Start up, slow down. So you can add the different easing capabilities if you want here. Now another thing, in real life, when this red square gets over here and stops, it might have a little inertia still in it. So it might go a little bit forward and then come back. Well, I need to add kind of a animation to maybe move backwards a little bit. Well, I can't. I can only apply one animation at a time. Here's a really important trick that I've been taught. I'm going to take my rectangle tool, my rectangle frame tool, and I'm going to draw out just a, how about a little square here. I'm going to fill it with a color, primarily so you can see it for a second. Okay. I'm going to go to my selection arrow. Now, remember, this animation is animating the rectangle over here in the animation panel. The trick is, I'm going to take my shift key with this still selected, and I'm going to select this little blue square, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to group it. Now this group doesn't have any animation applied to it yet. Oh, so let me draw another little path, not very long. Shift, drag about that far. I'm going to take my black selection arrow with that little path picked, and I'm going to click on the group, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to say interactive, convert to motion path. So we animated the red square, then we added this little other object here and we grouped them. So that allows me to add another animation to this group. Let's see how this works. Play. Play. Oh, it continued to move forward a little bit. I actually wanted it to go backwards. Let me click on this again. Let me click on this path. Now you know this path was drawn from left to right. So the little animation at the end of inertia is going from left to right. Here's a trick I've told you about before, but it's easy to forget it. Object, paths, reverse path. Now let's see what happens. See how it comes back just a little bit? Let me make it bigger. Play, go, and then just comes back a little bit. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go in here on this path, and I'm going to shrink it a little bit. I don't want much coming back. Animation. Let's see. See that? Just that little subtle back. Now, I have another problem. I don't want that blue square showing up. For heavens to Betsy Ross. So let me click on that. I'm actually going to move it up here. In fact, I might even move it over here. And then change the fill color to none. Click on the stroke in the tool panel and change that to none. Oh my goodness. So I'm using this object here that doesn't have any fill. It doesn't have any stroke, but it can have animation applied to it, and it can be grouped with things. This is called a null, N-U-L-L, object. So let's see how this plays out. Clear, play. Wow. So I can actually animate an object within a group here. I took the group and I animated that group. But the object that allowed me to make a group, the little square, I don't even have to make that visible. You got to think about this. This is called a null object. Okay, let's go to the next page. I'm going to hold my space bar. Now here's another example of using a null object. First, I have an airplane. I'd like the airplane to rotate around this cloud. So if I click on the airplane and I say I want it to rotate 360 degrees, and I preview this, let me make this bigger, and I play, well, it rotates, but it doesn't rotate around the cloud. So let me turn off that animation. Click here, click on the trash can in the animation panel. Here's the trick again, using a null object. I'm going to keep the airplane selected. I'm going to hold my shift key and click on this little square I made. I'm going to group that. Now I'm going to apply a 360 degree rotation here in the animation panel, and I'm sure this is going to work. Let's watch this. There it goes. But it's not really rotating around the cloud. It's almost like there's a thumbtack in the middle of this. Let's come over here in the animation panel. Now here's my origin point for my animations. So it's orienting the rotation off the center of this group. What if I put it on the bottom orientation point and play? Oh, look at this. So now I've got that working the way I want, but I don't want the black square, the null object, to be seen. Well, we do the same thing we did before. I'm going to come to my tool panel. It has a fill of this color. I'm going to say apply no fill. And there's already no stroke. So let me click off of that and watch this. Look at that. That's a null object again being used. So I had to actually add a null object to that so it wouldn't rotate off the plane itself, but off the group between the null object and the airplane. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. You've got to think about this null object situation here. Well, let's go to the next page. So here we've got something a little more complicated. I'm going to clear my preview. I'm going to click on this page and I'm going to preview this. Whoa, one more time. The pencil appears to kind of reveal or draw that, and the eraser kind of erases or hides that. So the key terminology here, I'm kind of giving you a little hint. is when it draws this, the actual object is already there. Now watch. Reveal, hide. So let's look at how we did this. So really, what's going on here is that we are actually using a mask. So I'm going to turn off this animation. I'm going to click it here. I'm going to go over to the trash can in the animation panel, and I'm going to remove it. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to ungroup this to show you that I have a rectangle here filled with white. Let me make this a different color. Okay. Now, so I have a rectangle that's white. I have my little pencil graphic from Free Picks. So I've got this green rectangle. I've got a text frame. And I got my pencil graphic. And I'm going to draw myself a rectangle over this text. I'm going to fill this with white because that's the background of my paper. And I think I'm going to hold my shift key and I'm going to get a hold of this pencil and I'm going to group them. But first, I forgot to double click back on this rectangle and turn the stroke to none. Okay, so let me click back. I grouped the rectangle and the pencil. I'm now going to draw the path to move that group from here, let's say, to here. I've got the path drawn. I'm going to hit my V key to switch over to my selection arrow. I'm going to hold my shift key to click on the pencil and the rectangle group. I'm going to right click and I'm going to interactive convert to motion path. So that's going to move the pencil all the way over, and it's also going to move the rectangle. Let's see how this looks. Why, that looks pretty good. Let me look at that again. Not too bad. I wonder if I double click over here and get a hold of the rectangle. Can I adjust this left or right? Yeah. And I can also probably move my little pencil guy, which I won't, around. But let's preview it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. In fact, I'm going to come back and I'm going to double click and I'm going to actually move my rectangle over here so the edge of the rectangle is right on the tip of the pencil. Let's see what that looks like. That's better because that looks like it's actually drawing it. That's pretty interesting. Let's try something else. I've got this picked, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off or delete the animation again here. And you say, well, you're crazy, Mark. Yeah, I am. So this time, I'm going to draw a different kind of animation. Now bear with me. I'm going to go to my layers panel and I'm going to move the text frame up to the top so I can see it. This time I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go lick a little wiki woo. I'm going to make a little path like that. Instead of drawing a perfectly straight one, I'm going to go back to my selection arrow. I'm going to hold my shift key. I'm going to click on the pencil group. I'm going to right click. I'm going to say interactive. I'm going to say convert to motion path. Huh. Let's preview this. Well, how come it doesn't reveal the text? The text is already there. Oh, because I went to the layers panel, remember? To bring this text forward so I could figure out where to draw that animation, I need to move the text layer back down below. Let's try again. Let me try this one more time. Now my bouncing little pencil here is kind of being a pain because it's bouncing up and down and revealing part of my text that's already there. Let me get rid of this green rectangle. Let me click here again, and I'm going to double click so I can just select the rectangle. Don't tell anybody, but I'm going to change the height of this down a little bit. Then I'm going to go back and preview it. Whoop! What's this little fringe over here in the preview? I must have to make this a little wider. Let's try it now. Now I've got one thing that's bugging me. You really can't hardly see it. But notice there's a chunk taken out of my pencil here. Anybody know why? Oh, look at here. It's because I drew the white rectangle after I placed the pencil graphic. So maybe what I need to do is take this rectangle, come over here to arrange, and send it backward. Now I don't want to send it to the back because that would go behind the text. But let's just do this. Ah, now it's not covering up my pencil. Let's watch this. Boom. So that's perfect. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Let me save that. By the way, you want to save a lot. I'm going to turn off the Draw Me and off the group with the pencil. I'm going to turn on my eraser guy. And I'm going to click on him here. Now you notice when I click on him, he already has the rectangle here and him, or the eraser graphic here, grouped together. So this right here, this group is called eraser. The text for the eraser is called erase me. So when I turn that visibility on right here, you can actually see it. But will this go back this way? Let's see. Oh, very, very interesting. So on this, instead of me drawing that funky pencil path for a motion path going from left to right, I drew it from right to left so the animation would go in that direction. Let's turn them both on, I guess, here. Everything looks good. Let's preview. It shows. Whoa. How come the eraser graphic weren't first? Oh, let me check my timing panel here. The pencil animation up here, which I should have named in the animation panel, pencil group, is actually playing after the eraser group. So I'm just going to pull. What do you mean I can't pull that above there? Now, I don't know. That's a bug in this program. I'm going to pull this one down. And I'm going to play. So there is using a motion path, and again using a rectangle to hide or reveal something. So we actually grouped the pencil graphic and a rectangle. We actually took the eraser graphic and a rectangle, animated those on a motion path, and to give it a little more realism, I used the pencil to make it kind of bounce as it did it, instead of just a straight line. Very, very interesting. I'm going to hold my space bar, and we're going to come down to here. I'm going to clear my preview so you're not bothered by that. Now here I have this little race car, and I brought this in from Free Pick, and this is the car. The wheels were separate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wheel and I want to rotate it. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to come over to my rotation command, and let's say I put in 360 asterisk times 4, enter, and that gives me 1440. And I'm going to preview the little wheel rotating. Now up in the layers panel, I'm going to actually hide the car for a second so you're not distracted by that in the layers panel. Let's preview. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down with my selection arrow, I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key. It's going to give me 2 arrowheads so I can make a duplicate. So will both of these play? Okay, so they're playing at separate times, but they are rotating. Maybe I better go into the area over here. So I got this one wheel picked, and I'm going to rename this front wheel. I'm going to click on this object. I'm going to name it rear wheel. And I'm going to take the front wheel and the rear wheel, and I'm going to say I want you two to play together. Preview. Okay. Now let's bring back the car. I'm going to go to the layers panel and bring back the car. So I want the car to, oh, I've already got a motion path on. Let's see what this does. Oh, okay. So the motion path for the car has already been applied because you know how to do that. I need to take and probably put these wheels, and I'm going to use my cursor arrow keys to move them over here a little bit, and I'll press in the center of this and wait 1 second, and then I'll have a better idea of how to get that wheel in there. Now that's good. Let me bring down a horizontal guide and see if I've got wheels both at the same height. Let me move this down a little bit. Now you know that the car is going to animate because in the timing panel it's first, and then the wheels are going to run. Well, I don't want that. Can I drag this car into this play together area? And will this work? Boy, that didn't work so good. I'm going to undo that where I put the car in with this group. Oh, I'll bet you I know. I bet you the wheel, shift key, wheel, shift key, car, all need to be put into their own group. And we'll name this complete car. I'm gonna watch it run here. Let's see. Oh, well, that didn't really work like I thought. Let me double click on the car. Oh, it had that pre-existing motion path. Let me turn that off. Let me reselect this group. And I'm going to go over in my tool panel. And I'm going to grab, let's say, my line tool, because it's easy. I'll go in the middle of the car, press, hold the shift key, and drag a straight line over to here. With that still selected, I'm going to take the black selection arrow. I'm going to click on the car. You know I'm going to go to interactive. You know I'm going to convert to motion path. I can see my proxy's already on. Maybe I should click on that path and bring it back a little bit. Click off. Click on. That's better. Preview. Well, I think we're almost there, except it appears that the wheels move and then it goes. Oh, it's the timing panel. I completely forgot. We linked or played the wheels rotating to play at the same time, and then when that got done, the car moved. Well, let me just drag the car into this play together group and see what happens here. Oh. Why, that works out fine. The only thing I would do on this group, this complete car group, is I may change the speed to ease in and ease out because the car stops. So I want it to accelerate and then deaccelerate. Now this isn't a very long path, so it might not be necessary, but let's just see. Whoa, jeepers creepers. Let me change this just to ease in. It's really not going that far. Vroom. So here's another item where we can animate like the wheels. Then we took the car, grouped the wheels with it, so the wheels turn, but the car won't move until we draw a motion path on that group. So that allowed us to have an action or an animation of wheels moving and another animation at the same time of the car moving, because we animated the wheels first, we grouped them with the car, which made a new group, which then could have another animation preset or parameter applied to it, and it works together. And then we had them all play at once. Well, I hope this enlightened you on a few things. We'll check back with you a little bit later.